Welcome back, gamers. We're just about at the halfway mark for the tier 11 Cataclysm guides, and I think we honestly found a fight where all three specs hold their own. Assassination will still probably be king in terms of raw boss DPS, but both combat and sub have really good utility that can help your raid in a multitude of ways on this fight. Subtlety has great utility for the air phases with the access that you have to back-to-back sprint with preparation and nitro boosts, essentially making you the best fire kiting class in the game. And I know what you're thinking. Why would I pop my DPS cooldown for an extra sprint? The answer is because it's actually a massive DPS increase for you and your raid. If you were to get picked early on into an air phase, you could save 1 to 3 gongs per air phase if you were to get lucky, and each gong is a 5-second window with a 50% damage bonus burn phase. Find Weakness is a great cooldown, but it's not beating 15 seconds of 50% damage bonus on a boss with Bloodlust popped. Combat is great for helping the raid burn down the obnoxious fiend ads. You having access to Blade Flurry helps decrease the load on the other DPS so they can focus more attention to burning the boss, resulting in a faster time to kill, which translates to less air phases and more gongs used for DPS rather than mechanics. So, no matter what you pick, rest easy knowing that all three can be super effective on this fight. We'll start with the standard openers for both combat and assassination, which I'll be posting on the screen now. Feel free to pause and read them. Subtlety's opener, on the other hand, is far more complex. I go fairly in-depth about it in the Magmaw guide, so if you're interested in learning it, link is in the description below. For combat, the opener starts with the pre-pull stealth into sprint at 2 seconds, and then on 1 second before the pull, rush into the boss and pop pot right before the pull goes out. Then, Sinister Strike into Slice and Dice, Revealing Strike, spam Sinister Strike and pop Adrenaline Rush, Eviscerate at 5 combo points, and then rinse and repeat. When you get to a deep insight, pop Killing Spree, then continue on to your normal rotation. At this point, feel free to weave in gouges, stipulations for certain abilities on the screen here. The Assassination opener macro is posted in my Discord for anyone who struggles with fast inputs. Pre-pot, stealth, then sprint to the boss at 2 seconds before the pull. Pop Garrote, Slice and Dice, mutilate once, then rupture and pop Vendetta. Mutilate spam to 4 to 5 combo points, then Cold Blood, and then rip Urine Venom. One of my personal focuses on Atramedes is the execution of mechanics, specifically sonar pulses, and the flame breath during the air phase. Sonar pulses send out sonic rings from the epicenter of the boss that move towards targeted players. Warstry and I theorized that Smoke Bomb could be used here to make the raid untargetable. I want to say that we didn't have the thought to try this during beta testing, so it's speculation, but if this works, all the rings would be sent to basically the people that aren't in the smoke bomb, so the tank, making this mechanic useless whenever a smoke bomb is available if it does work. Which has a few cheeky uses in this fight. Let's say you're near the end of the fight and you have a few gongs to burn for DPS. Well, your raid pops Bloodlust and you send your smoke bomb. Your range no longer have to move, netting them a massive DPS bonus, or even better yet, a healer so that they can keep healing and keep the raid topped off. Now onto the air phase. I wish I had the ability to show you guys what I was referencing in the start of this video, but I think I got chosen a total of 1 time throughout the whole hour or so we tested this boss, and we were in the middle of a wipe, so I didn't get any footage of it. But Atramedes shoots a fire beam out at a random player and leaves a trail behind that person. This beam ramps up in speed over time. I commented on how sub can be super useful for this part of the fight in kiting this beam, but that's not even the full optimization that can be used here. Priests get access to Leap of Faith this expansion, and Druids get access to Stampeding Roar, which means you have a large picking pool of abilities to send back to back to back in the event that you do get picked and your raid is smart enough to capitalize on other people using their abilities in tandem with yours for a fat DPS increase. What this would look like in actual play is sprint into preparation, sprinting again, your priest spamming however many leaps of faith your raid has to offer while sniping a stampeding from a druid, and then you nitro boost at the last second for a massive speed boost as the beam will start to gain on you here. Alright, now let's talk about cooldowns. Atramedes is going to be an extremely imperfect science for cooldowns and will be very dependent on multiple factors that will guide your own personal decision making on this fight. Searing Flame is a raid-wide mechanic that the boss uses every 40 seconds while grounded. The gongs on the side of the room have to be used to stun the boss during Searing Flame to stop the boss from channeling it, otherwise your raid wipes. When the boss is stunned, you are gaining access to Vertigo, a 50% damage bonus for 5 seconds at a time. This can pair really well with our cooldowns. On top of that, if you know the boss won't hit another air phase before it dies, any extra gongs that your raid has left are just free damage that you can capitalize on and incorporate cooldowns around. We didn't kill Atramedes because he was bug, and we opted to put our time to better use elsewhere, but Atramedes was looking like a roughly 5.5 minute fight, which means that we will get plenty of cooldown usage as Assassination, 3 sets of cooldowns in the form of Cold Blood and Vendetta, 2 sets of Vanish, at least 5 Shadow Dances, and between 2 and 4 Adrenaline Rushes, and 4 to 6 Killing Sprees. Whatever strat your guild relies on, make an effort to keep track of how many gongs are remaining at the end of the air phases, when Searing Flame is coming out, and how you can optimize any bonus damage you can get from Vertigo. A tip I like to give to players who are trying to improve as a rogue are, once you have a kill or 2 on this boss, map out your cooldowns around the boss kill time, and when we have scenarios where bosses have burn phases, account for wiggle room. And what I mean by that is, how much time can I spend holding cooldowns so that I can work them into those burn phases and optimize from there? Just remember not to hold cooldowns so that you don't screw yourself from that final ground phase where you pop all your remaining gongs, and see how you can work your racials and synapse springs into those windows as well. Alright, and lastly, defensives. If you're playing combat and attempting to cleave the Obnoxious Fiend, you won't have access to Feint unless you are using it at DPS loss, and you shouldn't be, so ignore this part. For Subtlety and Assassination, you have plenty of areas in which you can reduce incoming damage by feinting things like Modulation, and on the off chance that your Gong Smacker doesn't hit it perfectly, Searing Flame as well. Make sure to make use of this so that your healers love you and give you little smooches like this. Mwah. Cloak of Shadows can be used just outright to ignore damage on this fight, and though I didn't personally get to test it, it can be used to ignore damage on the air phase beam as well. Though we aren't certain as of right now if it ignores the sound that you would gain from standing in it, so test that at your own peril. Anyway, that's it for Atramedes. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and definitely comment, even if it's you just saying that my videos suck, or to provide criticism. I'm a really inexperienced editor, and would love to hear from all of you on how I can improve, or what you would like me to focus on more that I haven't been so far. Thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you on the next one.